Hey, it's Wednesday. You know what that means. Inside Scots Sports, new episode. That's me, a student athlete, interviewing other student athletes and faculty on campus. Let's get into today's episode. Welcome back to Inside Scots Sports, sponsored by Mid-Michigan Health, the exclusive healthcare sponsor for Alma College Athletics. Today we welcome Dr. Donnesha Blake, the director of the Diversity and Inclusion Office. How are you doing?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm great.
Good.
So I want to start off just talking about when looking for your current position at Alma College, what stood out about Alma to you?
You know, I was just about to graduate from my doctoral program at the University of Maryland, and I knew probably about halfway through that I wanted to go into some sort of student affairs or higher ed administration job. And so when I saw this position, I was really struck by the two programs that I get to direct, which is the King Chavez Parks Mentor Program and the Campbell Scholars Program, mostly because when I was a student, both in high school and then when I went to college, I was a part of programs that helped to prepare students for college and then to help them navigate the college process. And so I really wanted to be a part of that for a student, to be able to say, get them through the academic pipeline, to talk about all of the different services and expose them to what college is. And so that was really what attracted me to this position. So I'm really glad to keep working with those programs. And so, yeah, that's a little bit about why I'm here.
That's great.
Yeah.
After being on campus for a year, what's your favorite thing about Alma College?
Wow, what is my favorite thing? There's so many favorite things. I enjoy just the environment, it's really cozy and warm. I like the fact that at Alma you get to have an idea and you get to really run with it. I love the downtown. I know we're talking about Alma, the college, but even the downtown area is so beautiful and fun to go to. And I just checked out the greenhouse yesterday. Have you ever been in there?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It's so nice. And there's a turtle in there. So I love finding out about these little parts of campus that are just kind of unexpected. And so that's what I really enjoy. And our students are amazing here. You all are doing so many cool things that I didn't have the opportunity to do when I was a student, like studying abroad and having programs that really push you to do that, I think is amazing. So I just love being a part of all of that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So going off of that, in your current position, what services and events does your office kind of provide to students or put on a yearly basis?
On a yearly basis, we do a number of trainings, diversity education programs. So we do things like unconscious bias training, which is really just a program to get us to understand the ways that some of our ideas could potentially be have erasures or to erase certain groups of people on campus. And part of having an inclusive environment is to realize where I come from might also make a difference in how I communicate, and maybe the way I communicate with somebody is not necessarily the way that they need it, or would necessarily make them feel good about their experience. And so we do those kinds of programs. We do programs like Safe Zone, which is similar to that. And we also have a lot of cultural programs for our different heritage months. So coming up in January, we have MLK Day, which I'm very excited about. We're going to be promoting a lot of different campus activities for that full day off. And so I'm really excited about that. And then each month we kind of do something either programmatic on campus, or we try to do something like a passive program on our social media where we promote information about, so for example, Black History Month, we'll do some stuff in person or virtual, but we'll also do things like profiles of historical or contemporary Black people who are prominent and who are doing big things or something like that. So we really try to engage people in a lot of different ways to give you give people information in that way.
You mentioned your social media. I noticed that you post a lot. Would you say that that's a good way to stay in touch with what you guys are working on?
Absolutely. We post all of our events on social media. We even just provide like little tidbits. Like the other day, I did a post about some books that we have available in our office to pick up. Ahead of our talk for our presidential speaker series. So we have Dr. Ibram X. Kendi, who's going to be joining us for the Presidential Speaker Series. And so people can go pick up his books in the CSO. So like just different things like that we post about in addition to just our events. So it's a little bit of everything, I would say.
So moving on to some more about you, you mentioned to me that you have around 30 plants between your home and your office. What sparked your love for the outdoors and plants?
Oh my goodness. My mother sent me a plant when I was 19 in college, and that was a pretty hard year for me. So it was like the one thing that gave me joy. It was taking care of this plant. And so I had that plant since I was, for 11 years since that point, and it's grown. And in graduate school, I think it just became a great way to relieve stress. It's just to like take care of something. I couldn't have plants I couldn't have pets in my apartment in graduate school. So I was just like, oh, let me just get a lot of plants and just start taking care of those. And those became like my babies. So that's pretty much how I started. It was just that one. And any plant lover will tell you, like, that one plant will get you and you will be addicted. You'll just be buying plants every time you go to the store. So I'm really good at 30.
I love that. So you also love to cook and cycle. Can you tell me a little bit more about these two hobbies?
Oh, I've been cooking since I was a kid, and I would say cooking struggle meals. When my first meal was like hamburger helper, and I thought I was like a genius when I was able to execute it. But it's just something, again, to relieve stress. And the same thing with spinning. Like when I was in graduate school, me and my 3 other best friends, we were like, let's do something to hold each other accountable, to like stay in shape. And so we would go cycling for for 2 days a week, and we would have our favorite like instructor, and all the music was, just right. And it was just something that I've carried on since graduate school. So it really helps to stay centered and grounded.
That's awesome. So you touched a little bit about this, but what sparked your interest for being an advocate of diversity and inclusion? What was kind of your calling to it?
I mean, when I went to, and a lot of my experiences were sparked in undergrad. So I came to my undergraduate institution as a multicultural advancement scholar, and part of that scholarship program was learning about different areas of diversity. And I just really sort of started to understand like me in my position and like where I am in the world. And I wanted people to have, I was always really invested in like equality, and I was in fairness. And so I started to understand my position in the world and in relation to other people, and like wanting other people to feel like they were a part of a community, that they had equal rights and all of those things. And I think that scholarship program really helped to like hone in and develop my knowledge around those areas, those different diversity areas. And from there, I just sort of went into, women's studies, and, really started to learning more in that area. And, that's kind of where it's just sort of ballooned after that. It was just sort of like, and really the work that I did in my women's studies program really has allowed me to make sort of theory accessible to people, because I think when people know that you have a Ph.D., they're like, oh, that's really complicated stuff, and it's very like abstract. And so I really love diversity and inclusion because it allows us to make these ideas really approachable to people, or at least I hope we do that work.
So going off of that, being new to campus, what would you say your mission is to complete on Alma College's campus, and what are your steps that you have to complete that?
Yes, so I like to say that diversity, equity, and inclusion is like a mindset. It is a set of attitudes that we can carry, that we can develop, that really is about pushing us to be to learn, to unlearn, to advocate for people, to reimagine who we can be as a community. And so I don't think of it as an outcome. I really do think of it as really those set of ideas that can really push us to do things. And really do that process of renegotiating like who we are every time. If we're not where we want to be, we always circle back to like where can we be and how can we make it better. So I don't see it as a destination, I see it as a mindset, and in addition to that, a process.
I like that. So moving on to some fun questions for you. If you had to pick one fellow faculty member or student that you work with to survive on an island with, who would it be and why?
Gosh, the first person is like Andrew Palmerville. I feel like that's everyone's favorite person on campus. But he's a really cool guy, and he really supports the work of diversity and inclusion. Every time I have a conversation with him, it's always just a good time and it's fun. So yeah, I would probably pick him to just hang out with, and we'll have a potato farm apparently. I don't know if people know about his potato farm, but yeah.
I like that. And then, so secondly, if you could pick an animal that describes yourself, what would it be and why?
Oh, a cat for sure. Like I am very much like, you know, I'm very independent. I like to do my thing. And then I like my cuddles when I want my cuddles. And then I like to go away and just be in my own place. My mom says that I'm a cat too. So yeah, a cat for sure.
So as we talked about a little bit earlier, that with your love to cook, if you had to eat one meal for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Ooh, this is probably a bad idea, but like I'm obsessed with steak. So like, I'm like, this is probably not as healthy, but I probably would eat steak. Because I think like out of all the meats, that's the one that kind of holds up a little bit better. And so yeah, that's probably what it would be.
I would definitely agree with that. So finally, we're going to move on to a speed round.
Okay.
We're going to see how many questions you can answer in a minute.
All right, I'm
so
ready.
We'll get a minute on the clock. And once we are ready, we'll see how far you can get. Okay, you ready?
Yes.
Favorite color?
Blue?
Favorite midnight snack?
Oh, pumpkin spice covered almond.
Favorite breakfast food?
Bagel.
Favorite drink?
Cranberry juice.
Favorite TV show?
Ooh, favorite TV show. What am I favorite? Favorite TV show. Gosh, I can't think of any. I'm kind of Scandal.
Fall or spring?
Spring for sure.
Summer or winter?
Summer.
Hot dog or hamburger?
Hamburger.
Pens or pencils?
Pen.
Do you snore?
No.
Favorite flavor of ice cream?
Butter pecan.
Favorite number?
7.
Cake or pie?
Pie.
Brownies or cookies?
Cookies. How
Great.
far did I go?
We got through 14 of them.
That's pretty good.
Well, Dr. Blake, thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me out there.
And thank you for watching another episode of Inside Scots Sports. We'll see you next week.